It's been a while, but I wanted to do a new fillin' and chillin'. A legit fillin' and chillin'. I got 6 mags from my Benjamin Kratos. We got sluggies of the .219 caliber variety. I also want to do a mini review on the Kratos. I've been telling myself for the past couple days, I can fill a mag and then talk about pros and cons, things I like, things I'd prefer changed and whatnot. And I figured each mag could be, you know, a certain talking point. Let's try that, I guess? And then next week, I kind of want to talk about something different. Maybe not related to air guns or stuff that I would have on the channel, but I don't know. It's just a thought. I don't know if I'm ready for that yet, though. So, we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's talk about the Kratos while I'm filling these mags. And since I'm starting off by filling the mags, let's talk about the mags first. They're 12-round mags for the 22s. My only complaint about these mags is this little back piece. You can see how fragile that looks. And that's basically used as part of the locking mech. When you slide the mag in, that goes in a little, you know, cutout rail or whatever. Some other magazines might use a magnet. This uses that piece in the back. So that would be my only complaint. I did receive one of these that had a piece that was just slightly too thick to make it fit inside the gun. So all I had to do was just basically chop off a little segment that really wasn't 100%, you know, formed correctly on the back. It was a manufacturing kind of error. So other than that, I can't really complain about the magazines. 12 rounds is a pretty good capacity. They're not like the AEA mags where you have to worry about all the spring tension and crap. That's really aggravating. They're relatively cheap, and they're pretty much like any other plastic magazine that you can get for these guns that I've had. The cheapest magazines I'd have to say would be the Deanna Chaser mags. For the price, it's kind of crazy that they're that expensive. It's almost like a gimmick to get you paying a little bit more for the Chaser. Like the Chaser's $130 with the rifle, the carbine kit. You're talking a magazine is 1/6 the cost of the gun. They're $20 a piece. And I just bought a couple more mags for my Gauntlet 30. Same size capacity. The Gauntlet 30 is using, it takes more actual material to build the magazine, but the magazine costs $13. The price difference is kind of crazy. You're talking getting upwards of 2 to 1, or like 1.75 to 1. I don't want to fill this mag yet because I still want to talk about the mags. So price point, I don't think these are too expensive. I can't imagine them being more than 20. And for $20, these aren't too bad. The quality of the plastic is much better than the Chasers. The Chasers is really cheap. Not that I've broken any, you can just feel the quality of it in comparison. Mags aside, we'll talk about the ammo next. With this, I'm using .219 caliber. Apparently, these barrels are, I guess, designed for that caliber, not 22 exact, or I accidentally bought .216 caliber, and that .003 difference is enough to make this thing pretty much useless. And I don't know if people have had luck with pellets, but in comparison to slugs, I would never even put pellets through this thing ever again. The only time I put pellets through it was when I ran out of these .219 grain slugs. I was stuck with a .216 and I was questioning my sanity after the groups were just nowhere near what I was expecting. That was probably a couple months ago now. I just didn't notice that I hadn't selected... It like defaults to .216 and I had to select .219 and I thought I did. Or maybe I did and then the site just didn't process it or whatever, but I ran out of ammo. So when I came back and ordered new ammo, I was questioning my sanity. I'm like, this thing better work. And it was an absolute laser beam once you have those slugs. Pretty much, I've never used any other brand of slug other than the Nielsen brand. These things just are absolutely perfect through this gun. I can't expect any better from this gun. Alright, I had to reset that camera over there because I didn't want it to cut off halfway through filming. So that is reset. I talked about the magazines the ammo variety, the type to use. I guess we can talk about the gun itself. The features on this thing are, like, this stock is... It's pretty amazing. I can't believe it's on a PCP. I don't even have a firearm that has a stock this nice. And for the money, even at $700, there's other 22s out there that are more than double this thing. And I'm just like questioning myself, unless you're getting semi-auto or full auto function, I can't imagine those guns performing any better than this. Because I'm looking at those like FX Streamlines, and they're over $1,000 for a 22. And even like the Western, the Rattler company, I'm pretty sure they sell 22s. Or even, what's this other company? I can't remember the name of it. But it's very similar to the Western Rattler. And it's a bullpup with another cylinder mag. You're talking over $2,000 for a 22 pellet gun. Or slug gun, rather. Whatever you want to use. Maybe it is noticeably better, but I just can't... from my perspective, I couldn't justify paying twice the amount of money for that. It would have to be something spectacular. Like, it better be the best shooting 22 pellet gun on the planet for $2,000. I couldn't justify that. But granted, if you go on the firearm side of things, you can get like a Valkortsen 22, or you can get a Ruger 1022. And this definitely isn't cheap by any means, but it's obviously not. Like, once you pass $1,000, I'd say that's pretty expensive for an air gun. The Texan's $1,200, but that's something you could pretty much hunt anything you'd really want to with it. Granted, not in all the, there's different calibers to choose from. Between the different calibers, you get the 308. I think they make a 257, a 357. Is it 457 too, or something? And then a 50 caliber, or 51 caliber. And then you get to the Zeus. The Zeus is $1,200. So, for this thing being 50% of the Zeus, I can justify paying the money for the Zeus. It's shoulder-fired artillery at that point. It just blows my mind. It's an air-powered musket that a company can produce, and they don't make that many of them, and yet they can get the price down to $1,200. Granted, I know it's made in China. I'm not really happy about that. All the AEA stuff, I'm pretty sure, is all made in China. And thank you, citizens of China, for making us very affordable, decent quality products from AEA, because I don't think you could get that. It's pretty sad that it has to go to China, but I don't think you can get that price from any other manufacturer. They make some of the cheapest stuff for the money. And my only complaint so far from them is magazines. But these magazines are nice. In comparison, you don't have to worry about the tension and whatnot on those. The AEA mags, you have to rip apart pretty much. I've had to rip apart pretty much all the ones I've had. The tension is just way too high in the springs. Alright, I'm filling a mag, so that means I have to talk about something else about the Benjamin. This rail here, it might seem like a very small thing to say is nice about the gun, but it's nice having that over a dovetail. I'm not a big fan of the dovetail rails, and the more and more we get into, the newer scopes and sights, and everything's a Picatinny. And you can get the adapters and whatnot, but I'd rather just have something that is ready to go bolt on first thing. So over a dovetail, even just having that Picatinny rail is a nice bonus. I was kind of shocked that one of the Rugers that I bought recently only has a dovetail rail still. This bottle, I would prefer to have a 4,500 PSI cylinder on there. With this being only a 22, I don't really have any complaints. My only complaint would be is if you want to tether this gun, which I don't think you'd really need to, the shot consistency is pretty consistent without being regulated. I get all these mags off in one bottle, and then I can probably refill. And I know there's only 6 here, but I have 7, so that's 84 rounds before filling. That's pretty good. I don't think you need the bigger bottle, and they probably save some money going the steel or aluminum route. I'm not complaining about that. And the gun is pretty lightweight still with that bottle on there. The only thing making this thing real heavy right now is this scope. And speaking of this scope, I do have some footage coming up this week. Maybe I'll slip in some sneak peeks here and there in this video for that scope coming up. That starts on Wednesday. I have to hit the edge. Oh my god, why did I just do that? And then Friday so far. 3 for 3. I do this in Shireen's video, and then the thing takes like 3 mags to take down 1 star, and I'm hitting it every single time for the most part. The trigger on this. Pretty nice trigger. It's not the best trigger on the planet, but it's definitely not the worst trigger. And I can't really say it's definitely not the worst trigger. It is not a bad trigger. It's a pretty good trigger. Just, it's not something that you're going to be like, oh, the trigger on that thing is amazing. It's a good trigger. Other than that, you don't need the suppressor. This gun's not that loud. I just have that more as like kind of an aesthetic thing. And pretty much the only thing you're hearing when you fire this is just the gun itself firing. You don't really hear the air aspect of it nearly as much. Other than that, my only complaint is the depth on this. If I go and fill this off my transfer tank, I need like an extended quick release. Because you might not be able to see it, but it's the depth on that, it's pretty deep. This is an extended nipple cover. So with that extended, that's all you can see out the bottom. And it's pretty much maybe like 1/5 of an inch, and it would be flush. And this thing's double the size, pretty much, of a standard one. So getting that quick disconnect in there kind of sucks. It's not hard getting it in. It's just a matter of being like pinky in there and like to pull the thing out. It sucks. That's the only thing that I can really complain about. Well, I guess the last thing to go over is it has a little adjustment knob. And I have to say, the power adjustment knob on this, being that simple, it's pretty nice. You can see right here, it just has a little plus and minus. I don't know if the lighting is right. Right now, it's pretty much maxed out. Alright. For the most part, I pretty much have no complaints with this thing. If you are looking for a 22 PCP, preferably with slugs, because that's the only thing I know that works in this, I don't think you can go wrong with the Benjamin Kratos. If you see my 100-yard grouping in the wind, of all things too, you're probably going to buy one of these. I would just get it before it goes up in price anymore. So, I guess that wraps that up. Okay? Okay. Bye.